Perfect. All right. Good afternoon, Rotary Club of Flint. And welcome also to all of our guests who are here. Today is a wonderful day for many reasons. One of which, it's my last time starting one of these meetings. In truth, I've enjoyed it very much, but I also look forward to this opportunity being extended to a very capable person. Thank you so much for being here. This is our first traditional meeting of our new Rotary year, and it's lovely to have you here today. We are going to have, of course, our official club visit from our new district governor, Sonia Glass, who's here with us today. So we'll, of course, be extending her a warm Rotary welcome. But before we get to that special presentation, we're going to start off, as we always do, with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And as Rotarians, we try to live up to the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill, better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And today, with our brand new logo for a new Rotary year, which you'll hear more about I think the next time we gather, we have Ellen Eccles, who is our president-elect.
Good afternoon. So, as Elizabeth said, this is a day of change, much in her favor. So I was thinking about all the changes our club has been going through and planning, and we're stepping into a very special year. Every year is special, but this will be particularly special, and a time for all of us to kind of embrace a new Flint Rotary Club in many respects. So I found this quote that I thought was very nice, which I'll share. It's from The Simplicity Habit. Sometimes the future changes quickly and completely, and we're left with only the choice of what to do next. We can choose to be afraid of it, just stand there trembling, not moving, assuming the worst that can happen. Or we step forward into the unknown and assume it will be brilliant. I would say that every year when we have a new president start our club, that we assume that it will be brilliant. So, and we know at the end of every term that it has been. So cheers to a new brilliant year.
Thank you very much, Ellen. Please feel free to continue enjoying your lunch, take that cup of coffee if you need it, and we'll reconvene in just a little bit. All right, friends on Zoom, we get you set up in some breakout rooms. Welcome back, Rotarians. We have a robust program for you today. And the first order of business is a very important one, and that is the passing of the baton, the handing off of the torch, the gavel, as we welcome in new leadership. And so I would like to invite up President-elect Anne Marie, who is only president-elect for about another minute. Today, we welcome President-elect Anne Marie Van Dyne, as well as the 2023-24 officers and the board of directors for the Rotary Club of Flint. And we invite you, if you are here, also officers and directors to please come on up to the front. And I know we also have a couple on Zoom. Anne Marie, you have been selected by the members of this club to guide its affairs during the coming year. You've been entrusted with an important responsibility, which I know you are entirely capable of fulfilling, that will help shape our club's future. It's my pleasure to administer the oath of office for the president of the Rotary Club of Flint. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Anne Marie Van Dyne,
I, Anne Marie Van Dyne,
do solemnly pledge
do solemnly pledge
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the office of president
execute the office of president
of the Rotary Club of Flint,
of the Rotary Club of Flint,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
support the district governor
support the district governor
and Rotary International and its president,
and Rotary International and its president,
and that I will uphold the Constitution
and I will uphold the Constitution
and bylaws of this club.
and bylaws of this club.
So fellow Rotarians, let us welcome the 110th president of the Rotary Club of Flint, Anne Marie Van Dyne. So it's now my pleasure to administer the oath for the officers and directors. So officers and directors, you have been elected to important positions in the administration of the Rotary Club of Flint. This is an indication of our esteem and confidence in each one of you. We also believe that you will uphold the highest traditions of this club and that you will give the best of your ability to further the interests of our club and to carry forward the object of Rotary. So I say to each of you, will you fulfill the responsibilities of your office to the best of your abilities and in accordance with the constitutional documents of this club? If you will, please respond, I will.
I will.
All right, and I heard them all say it, so it's legit. I hereby declare the new officers and directors are installed, and this gavel symbolizes the authority for folks on Zoom. This here gavel represents the symbol authority invested in the Rotarian elected to the highest position in Rotary, and through them reminds those present of their authority. So when presidents transmit their authority to the next, they give the bell a final ring, which symbolizes that that moment has come. And so with this, I end my, I was going to say reign. I'll go with term and pass that on to Anne Marie.
Marie. Gonna put the gap. Thank you, everybody. It is really an honor and privilege to be your 110th president. We have a lot planned today, and the first meeting with also our esteemed district governor with us is not the time to sort of do my little spiel. You have to wait till July 28th for that. But I'm very thrilled to be taking on this role. And I see so many friends in the room, and I hope to get to know you all better in service this year. So I've asked Elizabeth to stay here to do a presentation. And I'm going to turn it back over to her immediately.
That was a brief pause. But actually, for this special presentation, I'm going to invite up our past district governor, Mike Chafee. So Mike, I know that we did all the formal things to hand off authority at the district conference, which was great, and hopefully you felt honored with that. But you provided such a level of service over the years, both to our club and then to the district, and I couldn't be more proud to have you as one of our own. And I thank you for all the leadership and support that you provided during my year and that you've provided for many years in the past. So as a little token of our appreciation and esteem, you have from our club a gift of a Rotary watch,
Oh, wow.
and we hope you will wear it with pride.
Thank you so much.
Morning, Mike. We have more special happening today. The Paul Harris Fellowship is, as you all know, a very important distinction that is part of being Rotarians, and it's something that I know many in the room have become part of, and many of us aspire to. It's named in honor of Paul Harris, who founded Rotary with 3 business associates in Chicago in 1905. The fellowship was established in his honor in 1957 to express appreciation for a contribution of $1,000 to the humanitarian and educational programs of the Rotary Foundation. Those programs include an array of projects that save and invigorate the lives of people around the world and enhance international friendship and understanding. These foundation programs have been going on for over 100 years, and they provide educational opportunities, food, potable water, healthcare, immunizations, and shelter for millions. These activities are funded, implemented, and managed by Rotarians and by Rotary clubs around the globe. Rotarians also designate a Paul Harris Fellow to recognize another person whose life demonstrates a shared purpose with the objectives and mission of the Rotary Foundation to build world understanding peace. We move closer to a more peaceful world today as we bestow a Paul Harris Fellow on Elizabeth Jordan. I'm surprised, Elizabeth. Therefore, Elizabeth, in recognition of your service as president of the Rotary Club of Flint, exemplary service, a leadership that took us through a tremendous amount of change, it gives me great pleasure to present to you, on behalf of the trustees of the Rotary Foundation, these 3 emblems of the Paul Harris Fellow, their certificate, a lapel pin, and a medallion. The certificate that Elizabeth has states that you have been named, she's been named a Paul Harris Fellow in appreciation of tangible and significant assistance given for the furtherance of better understanding and friendly relations between peoples of the world. We urge you, Elizabeth, to wear the Paul Harris Fellow pin to all Rotary events as a symbol of your appreciation for and support of the programs of the Rotary Foundation. Please accept our congratulations and sincere appreciation for your commitment to our common goals of world understanding and peace. Ladies and gentlemen, our newest Paul Harris Fellow. Thank you. And I'm not finished with Paul Harris Fellows. I will not repeat the entire backdrop of everything we know about what the Paul Harris Fellowship stands for, but we have 2 individuals in the room who do exemplify everything the Paul Harris Fellow stands for. And I'm going to ask past District Governor Mike Chafee and past President George Annan to come forward, please. Mike, in recognition of your exemplary service as district governor, and George, in recognition of your outstanding leadership of the district conference, it gives me great pleasure to present to you on behalf of the trustees of the Rotary Foundation, these emblems of the Paul Harris Fellow. We urge you to wear the Paul Harris Fellow pins to our Rotary events as a symbol of your appreciation for and support of the Rotary Foundation programs. And Mike is becoming a Paul Harris Fellow +7. Okay, do the wrong one. There's Mike. And George is a Paul Harris Fellow +2. Let's do the picture. So now to the business at hand. Service opportunities. Rotarians go the extra mile. Please remember that we're signing folks up for the Crib Rotary Mile on August 26th. It's easy to do. Everybody can pull out their phone and probably scan that right now to sign up online. Another opportunity. Oh dear. How come that's not showing up? All right, I'm going to come back to that. So thank you, Joe Martin, who's online with us, that this idea and opportunity came through him. Tomorrow morning, folks, this is one of our service partners, Keep Genesee County Beautiful, along with Communities First, is sponsoring a cleanup outing at Flint Northern High School tomorrow morning, 10 to 1. They're serving breakfast and lunch. So anybody think they might be able to make it for that? No hands. Well, we'll get the information again out in a service notice today. But if you can make it, let me know so that I can enter it in service activities. Also, service project number 1 is in the books. Thank you to those who showed up at the Flint Farmers Market. Again, we were welcomed by Keep Genesee County Beautiful. We did some upgrades to their permanent plantings, and we will be doing more with Keep Genesee County Beautiful as the year proceeds. You're going to hear a lot about service this year. As you know, we have changed our meeting structure so that the first week there's going to be a special service project, and we just, as a board, filled out service project goals for next year, and we multiplied them greatly, and I expect great participation. There'll be a lot of variation in what we do. I know not everybody can do them all, and I know that everybody can't work the outdoor events, but I hope to have lots of variety presented to you through the year. I've thought a lot about what service means as a Rotarian as I've come on and started to read the history, which frankly I'd never read before. And, you know, the very first service project goes back to 1907. The Rotary Club of Chicago saw a need in their city for better sanitation, and they literally drove a project to create public toilets in the city of Chicago, which seems like a huge and daunting thing, you know. And it's where Rotary has always been. And I've thought so much about service in general in our society. I believe that service is the social glue that builds trust. And I think we've all observed that service has declined in our country. Service organizations have declined. Membership in service organizations have declined, and so has trust. And our communities and our countries have become fractured. And I think service is the antidote. So I'm going to keep hitting that chime all year and encourage us all to find our way of service. And back then, not before we do that, this is our schedule. So coming up this next Thursday, Tenacity Brewing. You don't have to like beer. They have root beer on tap, kombucha, the taco truck is there, parking's easy. If the weather is lovely, we'll be outdoors. If it's not, they have a great indoor space. So I do hope you'll join us at 5 o'clock. This is an excellent opportunity to bring a friend. Low entry point, you know, you just have to show up. You don't have to sit for an hour through a meeting. You can introduce and mingle with your guests. So please bring your friend, bring your partner, spouse, colleague, your next door neighbor. Challenge you all to bring somebody along to that event. And then we'll be back here July 28th for our second full traditional meeting of the month. And now back through, skip the 50-50 raffle, Fred.
Thank you. I have so many honest people today. Who should I select?
I think, but
I
the
think
district,
Elizabeth Wood.
District governor's here, that's a rare event, Fred.
For you, are you honest? I have to ask.
Yeah.
And what I would like you to do, would you please step forward? Take my ticket. Oh, by the way, Carrie, would you check my tickets? I like to make it, like to make an honest one. I'll let you hold the winning. Now, would you carefully stir the pot? Carefully. We remember we have a judge and in the room. He's never found me guilty yet.
And are you ready?
Are you ready? Draw the first number.
Thank you. 715646. All right. Red.
College prevails yet again. Thanks, good man, Red. You crap boys are okay for some. Yes, please.
Again, 715744.
Mr. Nick Godleski, good man, and there's first place.
One more.
One more. We're generous here. And now for the first prize. 3 gallons of gas plus.
715650.
Oh, hey, congratulations. Thank you.
Are there any health and well, excuse me, are there any health and welfare announcements from the floor? Do we have any guests to welcome today? Okay, well, it's a special day. Because our district is so unique and that it spans both a part of the United States and part of Canada, we have a tradition of offering a toast. So please raise a glass. I would like to offer a toast to the King and to Canada. Here, here, cheers. And a toast to the President of the United States. Here, here, cheers. And a toast to Rotary International. Cheers. That. I would like to call our Assistant District Governor, Al Tucker.
That works. Well, good afternoon, Flint Rotarians. I just realized this is the second time in 30 days I've had the pleasure of introducing district governor to a Flint Rotary office. At district conference, I got to introduce our past district governor, Mike. And today I get to introduce to you all our current district governor, Sonia Glass, and her husband, Dave. I'm going to read the official. I didn't read the official for Mike because you know all about Mike anyway. You don't know anything about Sonia and Dave, so give you a little bit of history there. Sonia and Dave began their relationship with Rotary in 1994 when they agreed to host parents on the Rotary Youth Exchange Project. In 2016, after 10 students and with their own kids off to university, they decided to become Rotarians in the Rotary Club of Meaford. Shortly thereafter, Sonia was on the role of leadership, becoming the club secretary, and then 2 terms as club president. And in 2021 and 23, she did a similar role as I did, but for Area 1. Sonia's retired. She, in her vocation, is as a nurse. I was told you're never a retired nurse, you're always a nurse, right, Sonia? She worked in critical care for several years, taught nursing at the college level, managed the nursing department, and finished her career as the chief quality officer in a local rural hospital. Sonia and Dave have traveled annually to Tanzania since 2014 with the Canadian African Community Health Alliance to provide volunteer medical service there. She is a nurse, Dave is a pharmacist. When their son Simon traveled with them in 2018 and 19 to that project, they started working to address the clean water challenges on the island that caused so many of that illness that they were seeing. I think we in the US and maybe in Canada don't realize the impact of environment on health status. In Africa, you really see it. So with that, they have helped since that time install 7 wells with the assistance of district grants. With the support of the Meaford Club, they have also done several initiatives with a local orphanage and hospital to address maternal and child health, resulting in a significant drop in the maternal and neonatal fatality rates. Couple are gifted with 2 grandkids, a boy and a girl. The boy is more of a challenge, right? Know that. As they enjoy their role as Nana and Grandpa there. Sonia and Dave are members of the Paul Harris Society, members of Polio Plus Society, and level 2 major donors. And with that, let's the Rotary Club of Flint give a warm welcome to our new district governor and her spouse, Dave. Welcome.
Thank you for that welcome. In 1987, my husband and I purchased a pharmacy in the town of Meaford. Now, Meaford is on the south shore of Georgian Bay. It's a small town, 5,000 people. It's a really pretty little town. And we became very quickly aware, thanks Tim, very quickly aware that there was a Rotary Club there because Dave's new business partner was a Rotarian. And he would, on a very regular basis, ask Dave to join Rotary. Several years later, the club asked us to become host parents. And we had recently had some conversations with our then 5-year-old son and 8-year-old daughter, because they had asked us about some terms that our neighbor had used, very unflattering terms about different cultures. And we weren't very happy about that, but we realized that our community was a very, everybody was the same, all European backgrounds. And we thought, how do we get our children to have a broader view of the world and ideas and different cultures, etc. And we thought, what a great way to be Rotary host parents. So over time, we became host parents to students from Japan, Belgium, Finland, Thailand, Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, Russia, Denmark, Switzerland, and Slovakia, some of whom we have visited since they stayed with us. We have many stories to tell about these host kids. Not all of them are good stories to tell, but that too is part of being a parent. When both of our kids ended up in university, they told us, both independently, that the experience of having Rotary Exchange students in our house helped them to be more open to different cultures and ideas and ways of thinking, and to integrate themselves into university residents. They both regret not being Rotary Exchange students, which is too bad that they didn't at the time. Rotary International's hope that the Rotary Youth Exchange program would build world peace is spot on. Along the way, we would go to the occasional Rotary meeting, and they would continue to ask Dave to join. Still not a member at that point. So I'd like to introduce to you our family. Shona is on the right. Shona is an epidemiologist with the Federal Ministry of Mental Health. Her husband beside her is a crop scientist, Alan, and their children, Garrett and Laurel. Dave and I in the middle, and on the other side of us is Simon, who went to Tanzania with us. He is a Rotaractor at Mississauga Club, and his wife, Camille, who is on faculty at Seneca College teaching Indigenous Studies. We are a family of scientists. Oh, I cannot forget to introduce our dogs, because it really is all about the dogs. And there you will see Panda, Samson, and Archer. Okay. In the spring of 2016, the club decided to give up on asking Dave to join. It had been almost 30 years that they've been asking him after all. And so they decided to ask me. Now, in this situation, the timing was right. I was getting set to retire from a 60-hour work week, and I was looking for the next project. And when they asked me to join, we decided to join as a couple. We also told them that we had started doing work in Tanzania, and that we would very much like them to be part of our experience and support us in the work we were doing there. We knew Rotary was already in Tanzania. This is our Rotary International president for 2023-24, Gordon McNally. My husband's father was from Scotland, from Glasgow, and I loved listening to his Scottish brogue. And so I was quite delighted that this year's president was from Scotland. And he told us a story that he had heard about, he had met a lady who had been in a community that had been hit by a tsunami. She had lost her daughter, her son, her husband, and her home. But yet she still gave him one of her prized possessions, which was a shell, and told him that Rotary had created hope in her world. So that caused him to come up with a theme: create hope in the world. I recently had the opportunity to go to a membership recruitment agent. While I was there, I met a young man who had been a Rotary Youth Exchange student from Germany, wanting to give back to his community. I also met a lady who told me that she had a terminal illness. She wasn't sure how much longer she was going to live. She hoped that she made it to her daughter's wedding. And yet she was joining Rotary because she had always wanted to be part of an event called the coldest night of the year. I'm not sure if you've heard that or if you have it here, but in Canada, it is a winterific family walk to raise funds for hunger and homelessness. And this is why she joined Rotary. This is what she wanted help with. So she was asking Rotary to help her create hope in her world. The club that was having this membership event had undergone some rough times. They had had some new members who had new ideas, things they wanted to do. And the old members said, no, we have things that we want to do and the ways that we do it, and we don't want to do your new things. And so that led to some very, very challenging conversations in that club, resulting in the more senior members leaving. So this is why they were having the membership event. And it was unfortunate that they weren't able to work through those challenges. Unknown to Dave and I, when we joined our club, they had just finished going through such a conversation. They knew that their membership was down. They knew they needed to make changes. And so they made several changes in the club. We didn't know that when we joined, but when we did join, we knew that they were listening. We had some new ideas, things we wanted to do, and they just went along with us and allowed us to do those things and supported us in doing that. So it worked for the Meaford Club because here we still are. As I travel around visiting clubs as AG in Area 1 and also in Area 8, I've seen that in response to coming back out of COVID, that a lot of clubs are making changes. They are changing the hours that they meet, they're changing the days that they meet, how often they meet, maybe not every week. They're introducing things like you are, service activities on a regular basis, social activities on a regular basis. My club, for example, you got to picture this, are going for a canoe ride this week. I challenge you to try that. They're also looking at their communities and seeing whether or not their membership is reflective of their communities. And are they open from a diversity, equity, and inclusiveness perspective to having members that have different religions, different gender identities, etc. Clubs are looking at their onboarding experience as well, and our new members welcome. Membership specialists in Zone 28 are suggesting regular club culture surveys. So if you haven't had a chance to do one yet, that is certainly something that is recommended for you to do. It's stuck. It's stuck. What are you learning about when that line is? Okay. A quote from Gordon McNally: "We need to engage with one another and everyone we serve with open and inclusive conversations, create new and ideas and perspectives." And that is indeed what clubs are doing. The other thing that I've observed in the district as I travel about is that we are having difficulty in finding leaders. Half of our current presidents in the district are repeat presidents. We need to do a better job of developing and supporting our leaders. We need to question if we're being thoughtful about supporting our leaders. Are we whispering behind their backs that they're not doing a good job? Or are we providing them with suggestions and ideas for how they can do better? Are we nurturing these leaders? Is the workload reasonably shared so that that leadership can be shared as well, not just on the back of the president? While service above self has its inherent value in making us feel good, it can cause a lot of stress and strain on those individuals as they're putting so much time and effort into it. We need to keep an eye on the mental health of the Rotarians in our club. Rotary takes ordinary men and women and gives them extraordinary opportunities to do more with their lives than they ever dreamed possible. I would suggest that Rotarians are already extraordinary people when they join the club, because they see the value that Rotary will bring for them and for their communities. We are trying something new. My husband is now taking over at the talk.
How do we work this? I'm going back. There we are. Okay. So in our introduction, we alluded to the fact that Sonny and I have been doing some volunteer medical work in Tanzania over the past 12 years or so. And this is just a picture of, I'll do a little short synopsis of what we've been doing. So this is we do basically a traveling medical clinic on the island. It's a small island in the middle of Lake Victoria. You can imagine maybe Mackinac Island, maybe it's about 10 miles north to south and about 20 miles east to west. So quite a small island, but it has 450,000 people living on it. So a very densely packed area and lots of need. This is a very typical scene we see when we go to one village and we arrive at the village in the morning. The sea of faces. The question is, how do you manage that sort of situation when you're faced with so much need and you only have a limited number of resources? Something we're facing all the time as Rotarians. The money that we raise, we have to make sure that it's used in a very judicious manner to have the most effect. After working on the island for a few years, we realized that a lot of things we were seeing were related to poor water quality in the villages. So the challenge for us was to how to address that need a little further upstream, so that we weren't facing this sort of situation every time we went to the village. And that because as you know, waterborne illnesses are a big problem. So we decided to work on the water issue. Over the course of the past 3 or 4 years, we've installed 7 wells in different villages. And that has been as a result of the money that we've been able to garner through the district grants, fundraising locally in back home in our home club, and again the support of our home club. So it's been very gratifying to do that, but it's been also very much a challenge. These are the types of things that we ask the villages who receive the wells to report on. So we go back a few years after we install a well, we ask them what's happened in the village. And these are the things that have been reported to us. So that, number one, they're spending less time gathering water. And in this sort of society, it's typically the young ladies who are sent to gather water every day. And they can be sent many, many miles to do so. And even so, the water they come back with is often contaminated. So they report that they're spending less time gathering water. This allows the young women in the village to spend more time going to school, which is a huge improvement for them. It's been said that the best thing you can do in a third world society to bring it up to the next level of society is to make sure that the women are educated. And this hopefully allows those women or those young girls to spend more time in school and get a better education. Also, not surprisingly, they report less gastrointestinal diseases, which was the original idea of what we wanted to accomplish. The dropout rate for girls goes way down. The violence against women goes way down as well. These girls, when they're out by themselves gathering water, are often subjected, unfortunately, to physical assault, which can sometimes result in unwanted pregnancies. If they get pregnant, they can't go to school. So all these factors. There's some of these things I never really contemplated when you're considering wells, but these were some nice outcomes to hear about. And I guess the point of this is we like to make sure that we're working with data and that we are doing things that support the data we see. Well,
Oops, you already got that. How do we go about designing service projects with known outcomes and grounded in evidence? And that's one of the reasons that we talked about Tanzania, about how we use those funds that we work hard at raising. How do we use them in a way that is the most effective? We see here that the data shows us that the life expectancy in Tanzania has gone up. On the left-hand side, you can see that the graph has gone up a considerable amount, more than 60. Since 1960, it's gone up as high 20 years more of life. And on the other side, you can see the drop in the mortality rates for kids under the age of 5, which is 50% of the population on the island. And so where do we go from there? On the left-hand side, you can see the death rate for pregnant women in Canada, pretty low. And you can see that in Tanzania, on the right-hand side, it is dropping, but it's still significantly higher than in Canada. So we know where we need to focus our efforts next in Tanzania. I want to take an opportunity to say thank you. Yes, you are the second oldest club. We had a conversation about that at the board. You are the second oldest club in the district. And I spent some time doing some math, looking at the years of service each of you have given to your community, and I added it all up. The Flint Club, with its current membership, has given 1,812 years of Rotary service to Flint. You have 64 Paul Harris Fellows, which is pretty impressive, 415 since 1916. Your all-time giving is 841,480. Pretty impressive. Thank you. You have 2 major donors. You have no benefactors. If you do have benefactors, people who have written Rotary into your will, Rotary International doesn't know about it. So could you please let us know about it? I have forms that you can fill out to do that. If you haven't done that, please think about it. Leave Rotary some money in your will, a lasting gift. You have 5 Paul Harris Society members. Every Rotarian every year, 51.6 of you give to Rotary every year. Thank you. Foundation giving, 53% of you participate in that. And you have 44% sustaining members, which means those donations are over $100. That's pretty awesome, awesome data. This year, this is the number that the clubs in our district have given to the Rotary Foundation. Imagine, we'll go back to last year's thing, imagine the things that this money can do. It can help us get closer to ending polio, malaria eradication, peace centers, et cetera, and all those wonderful things. So as you can see, we're pretty focused on data. And so over the last 2.5 years, Mike et al. Had us spend a lot of time looking at data and clarifying and cleaning up data where it needed to be cleaned up. That information we have made into 2 charts, along with the new strategic plan that is in the document section of Club Runner. So I will, from this and the things that we're going to continue tracking over the next few years, our priorities over the next year are: we're going to continue with the theme, Women in Rotary. There's only 38% of us. We're really nice people. We need more of us. And having said that, Anne-Marie, would you come up for a minute? I would like to present you with a. Oh, thank you. Celebrating Women in Rotary. Okay. We have been talking to clubs. Many of our clubs do not have chairs for specific roles. I think less than half of our clubs have membership chairs. Even less than that have foundation chairs or public image chairs. And we know that all of these things are really important for us to continue to grow Rotary and be able for us to continue to grow the service that we provide in our communities. So I'm kind of nagging clubs about filling those roles. And we all are planning on having several education sessions to help those people do well in those roles. We're also looking at facilitation groups, including diversity, equity, and inclusiveness. We have two members in the district, Susan McDonald from Southampton and Clay Milnecki from Thornbury Clarksburg, who are starting to have a conversation, to build a conversation for us to have in the district about how we're doing with reflecting our community and different ideas that and cultures, et cetera, that are out there. We're also looking to build an environment chat group. We're just trying to figure out the right platform for putting these things into place. Of course, we always wish to increase our annual giving for all the work that foundation, the Rotary Foundation does, both at the district level and internationally. We're going to spend a little bit of time looking at completing our quest to formalize our youth management, our volunteer youth management program. So that right now, a lot of criminal background checks and things are sitting in past presidents' files, and we want to get them collected in a central location so that they're easily found and that they send you reminders when they're due. The biggest project is visioning. So at the end of September, we are gathering 27 Rotarians from across the district who will learn how to have a visioning facilitation program. These people will become available to our clubs to help our clubs write their goals and objectives and strategic plan for the next few years. We know that clubs are better at getting new members and retaining new members if they have a vision for the future and written down goals. So these facilitators will come to your club for 3 to 4 hours in an evening, minimal cost, if any, and will facilitate that conversation. I know some clubs have done that, and they're led by leaders within the club, but they don't get to participate. These facilitators will allow everyone in the club to participate. Okay, that's the visioning program. I'm going to skip over this one. And so my theme for the year, Meaford is an agricultural community. We grow apples. And so it just made sense to me that my theme for the year is plant a seed. So I hope that I've had the opportunity of planting a seed in your mind about some of the things that you might like to do over the next year. My district conference is on June the 21st to the 23rd. However, it starts the afternoon of the Thursday, June the 20th, with a golf tournament at Cobble Beach, a very pretty high-end golf course, very, very beautiful. Shotguns start at 1 o'clock, and they are giving us a pretty good deal. On June the 21st, it's National Indigenous Day in Canada, so we'll be doing something about that. We also have a bit of a party planned with Juanita and the Big Deal, who is the band that we will have that day. Our theme for that conference will be community safety and well-being. But I want to leave you with a challenge. We are so close to ending polio. We're hoping that in 2026, polio will be eradicated. We need to continue having funds for that project to end. So two thoughts. If you haven't yet been a member of the Polio Plus Society, please see Mike. He's got the paperwork. And the other thing that I want to do, building on something that Mike did at his conference, having a bit of an auction, I'd like to have an auction. So I'm challenging every club in the district to bring something, send something to this district conference. And we will have an online silent auction to raise funds for Polio Plus. I have already started crocheting my Afghan. And if anybody has a special request for a stained glass piece, I will make one of those as well. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, District Governor Sonia. A donation in your name has been made to Rotary International for the eradication of polio. Thank you. So special thanks as we transition to the other slides here. Special thanks to the people serving our club today. President-elect Ellen Eccles gave us the wonderful inspirational message. Terry Mormon was set up takedown and registration. Thank you as always for your steadfast support of Rotary. Lauren Coney, thank you for the bulletin notes today. And I noticed that your mom was pitching in with photos. Thank you so much. And raffle Fred Hines, our Zoom hosts today were Ed Fletcher and Joe Martin. And thank you, Assistant Governor Al Tucker, for doing the kind introduction of our speaker. Next week, we're at Tenacity Brewing, 5 o'clock. Like I said, you don't have to drink beer, but I always recommend it. Lots of choices on the menu. It's a great place to be, easy. If you've never been there, come out and see it. It's just a lovely spot on the river, and I hope you'll bring a friend. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for being here today. And the meeting is adjourned, but before that, I think we'll do an official changeover. It's one of the things, as someone who's been trained in graphic design, I really look forward every year to seeing what they're going to come up with, because they know they're quite striking, and these symbols I do think matter. Okay, who did this? I get it. All right. Off with the old, officially on with the new, and I get to do this for the first time. Thank you for coming. You want this? Yeah, thank you. Well, that, oh, okay. Give that back here.
Yours is over here.
Wonderful.